Up until now, the results of all the queries related to individual rows. It is often important to show the results about a group of rows by summarizing a column based on values of another column. For example, suppose we want to find the average customer age by gender. The result of this query will have only two rows, one for female and another for male customers, and then corresponding average ages. This is accomplished by using the group by clause, similar in a way to Excel's pivot table we've had in one of the assignments before. So open the partly completed using Notepad++ script number 10, I believe, which is MySQL 3 underscore 10 underscore group underscore by underscore cust underscore age underscore gender. I think with a maximum number of underscores, and review the first few lines, of which there is not really much. Okay, so let's first complete the part involving the aggregate function on the age column, right? So after selecting the gender, we'll round, and the round is not terribly important, the average with the AVG function in parentheses of age. Oops, what happened? Age. Okay, and then we'll comma, we'll put kind of one decimal and close the round function, right? So we'll find the average age by gender, you'll see later on, okay, and then we'll round that average to one digit so we don't have like 10, okay, from customer, and then group by, okay, gender. All right, so let's save that, and I will return back to the presentation briefly. Okay, so now what we do, we want to emphasize the fact that the gender column must match, the number of columns in the select statement. They're not part of the aggregate like this one here is. Okay, must match the number of columns in the group by. So for now, we have only one column here, one aggregate, and one column in a group by. Okay. Now I forgot to add the name of the column, so I'll switch back to the script. Add that AVG age, close it, open it in Toad, and run it number 10. Okay, and run it. So I should get only two rows as was indicated, one for female customers, one for male customers, with average age of 32.7 for girls and 34.8 for boys. Okay, this is again equivalent to using a pivot table on customer sheet and dragging the gender column onto the row labels and age column onto the values, changing the summary for sum to average, and then rounding it to one decimal as we just did. Okay, so scroll this and let's get back to the presentation. So in addition to the typical numerical summaries involving summations or averages, there are somewhat lesser used minimum and maximum functions shown towards the bottom of the slide. In addition, it is important to learn about counting rows, okay, regardless of the type of data a particular column contains, as the next slide will demonstrate. Okay, so the more widely used count of and then asterisk function counts all the rows, regardless of the content or lack thereof. That means including nulls. For example, let's suppose we want to count how many customers of account or wholesale type and retail type do we have. Okay, so let us open script number 11 in Notepad. Okay, open script number 11, MySQL 3 underscore 11 underscore count underscore cust underscore type. Okay, and then select prod type. Select type, comma, count and asterisk in parentheses, and let's name that count column as num customers, as in number of customers, from customer table, and we'll group by type. Oops, let's do lowercase. So the type is A for account or wholesale and R for retail. So it'll be two rows, okay, and then two number corresponding to those two rows that are that represent the number of account customers and number of retail customers respectively once we run this. So we have 15 account customers. We know that there's very much fewer of them, and then we had 307 retail customers. Okay, we'll close this. We'll switch back to Access. Okay, and we'll create another query with customer table. Okay, we'll create query design customer table. Okay, we'll drag the type column. Okay, and then we'll click on the sum button in the query design button right here, totals, big sigma button. Okay, that will, as after you drag up the query grid, that will introduce or include or insert a total row here, and it'll automatically assume you want to group by the type column that you inserted. Okay, so if we wanted the average age broken down by customer type, we could drag the age column and then under the total use the average function. Okay, let's try to do that. So let's try to bring down age here, and then we'll use the AVG function to get the average. Okay, let's try it and see the results. So let's run that. We'll get, again, for the account customers, which are really the contacts, the average age is 31.2. For the retail, a little bit older, 34.2. So quite similar. Okay, since we are looking for customer counts, okay, we could have dragged any of the columns. Okay, this is exactly as it is with Excel pivot tables. So let's just use customer ID by flipping the age to customer ID, and then in the total row we'll choose the count instead of the average. Okay, now if you enter right before the customer ID NUM customer followed by a column, and insert a space just in case, and then drag it a little bit. Okay, that's actually going to name the column, so it avoids the generic name, which would be count of customer ID or something to that effect. Let's save this. This was number 11, right? So ACCDB3 underscore 11 underscore count underscore cust underscore type, and then when we run it, we should get the 15 and 307 from before. Okay, so let's switch to SQL view for a second, just so you can see the code. Okay, and you'll see that it's almost exactly the same, except for the fact that we have of course the customer table specified everywhere, and that's really about it. Okay, so the count function applied on a particular column simply counts all non-null values. Let me switch back to the presentation at the same time. Okay, I'm talking about the next bullet here. For example, next script counts the number of products in each product group broken down by product type. Those products or services that are not classified in any of the product groups will not be counted. Okay, so let's switch to Notepad and open up number 12, our 12th script, MySQL 3 underscore 12 underscore count underscore null product. Okay, and then let's, by looking at the slide, select prod type, comma, count, and then instead of the asterisk, which counts anything and everything, let's type prod group as, again, num products. Okay, from product, and of course it's going to be grouped by prod type. Okay, so we'll save that, close it, open it in Toad, and that's number 12, and run it. Okay, so here, if you scroll down, there are 5 rows. Okay, I can almost see all of them. There are 57 inventory item products, 2 kit items. There are no services or service items. Okay, those are the nulls. Okay, so in other words, the product group, okay, the service and service items do not have product group. 6 special orders and so forth. If you add these guys up, what do we got? 59. Am I missing something? 59 and 6, right, is 60. 59 and 6 is what, 65, which is about 9, I guess, right? Less than 74, which is the total number of products, right? So there are 9 that do not have the product group designation. Okay, so it is important to understand that the columns in the select clause must be either in the group by clause or be part of the aggregate function. I already emphasized that before, or this simply won't work. Think of an Excel pivot table. You can either drag a column to labels, all filter sections, which is essentially group by clause, or to the values body part of the table, which is the summary. Okay, so we're going to close this, guys, switch to the presentation and pause.